Good morning, everybody. Welcome also to all of you who are listening and watching the sessions after later in the day. Can you just let me know if you can hear me well and see me well? I would appreciate that. So, as people are dropping in, also welcoming each other here. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah. So my name is Nirmala. I'm based in the north of Germany, and I teach meditation and embodiment since a long time, 20 years. I got in contact with Buddhism 28 years ago. And I'm really happy being here to share information about our nervous system and bring some tiny trauma-informed background knowledge into our Buddhist meditation world. And as I get deeper and deeper for myself, bringing these things together and building bridges, there is a place there where there actually doesn't even feel like a difference anymore. It's just different concepts, and our path is really to go inside and explore for ourselves. Where's freedom? Where's real freedom? So this week I am talking about mindfulness, about the nervous system, and I do this through sharing 15 minutes of information and then guiding you half an hour through a meditation practice, and at the end we have 15 hours time for questions and answers, and your questions are really appreciated and really make this session alive. And especially with this topic, I think like it's really helpful to get your questions and to see like where it lands, what I offer here, and where we can go with that together. And there is a really emphasis this week to put the practice into your life. I was talking about this yesterday, because with the nervous system, it's a social thing in our bodies, and it's been created and formed through the way how we grew up, through environment, through the people around us. So our nervous system is continuously getting its information, and it's like way to react from the outer environment, from our inner physical environment, and from the experience we had in the past. So that's always there. So we are most triggered out there with people there. That's where our alarm system is really attentive. And longing for a healthy relationship is not a spiritual problem. It's really the somatic basis of every mammal. Before we let go of our identification with the body and with our thoughts, we really need to arrive in the body first in an integrative way. And when we feel safe and loved in human connections, also our desires and our compulsive attachment loses its grip, loses the urge. So I'd like to share some background information about our nervous system today, and it's really, really basic because we don't have time to really dive deep in it, and I find it so valuable because this is where we engage with each other, and this is where our fire comes also in interaction with each other, but also our possibility for connection. So in dangerous situation, the nervous system gets its information from, like, not from the newer regions of our brain, not from our cognitive part of the brain, but from our brain stem. And this, we have inherited this from animals. So the autonomic nervous system, and this word here is really important, it's autonomic, is part of the central nervous system, and it helps us to survive. And it did that over like millions of years. It regulates our blood pressure, our metabolism, and our heat balance. And it does all this without being able to intervene with intentionally. It's like we don't have control over it. So our nervous system checks, like even now, in every moment, checks if we are safe, if we are in a dangerous position, or if in a life-threatening position. And it does it really independently of our consciousness. Right? It's just all the time. And as I said, it uses for that a stimuli from the environment, from the body, and from our experiences. And the nervous system like functions in, like, there are three main parts, like, to keep it really simple. And the first, and we can imagine this at the bottom as like a big blue bowl. You could, like, blue is the color for the parasympathetic nervous system, if we speak like in therapeutic language. And that's a state when our parasympathetic system is activated, where we are at ease, where we have a sense of I am, just like that. And we can rest there, we can be in contact with ourselves, we are in contact with others. This is a state where I can recharge my energy, where I can meditate, where my face is relaxed and soft and my heartbeat is just normal, my blood pressure is normal. And then when we come into the sympathetic system, it's really like when it's slightly activated, that's when we experience joy and lust, and when we like dance or have fun, or we are creative. And that's already like not in the parasympathetical system, but like a little bit higher up, but in a really like really supporting us in life. Really, we are able there to connect to other people, which is so much our longing. And then when our activation gets even higher, and we feel like anger, we can still be connected to our base, to this big blue bowl, our kind of ground, and we can have like healthy aggressions happening. We are still connected to a sense of security here. We can clearly stand up for ourselves. We can articulate our boundaries and do this in a way that we don't hurt others and that it's not overbearing. And there we have a feeling of I can. And that's a feeling where we are fluid, where movement is happening. And when we are very activated in anger and rage and fear, worries, we lose the contact with our parasympathetic state. And we need to move. There is a sense here of I must, I have to fight, or I have to flight to protect myself. And our practice is really supporting us into what's going on here. And often our reactions, and that's from nature, it's really needed that we are at that this is like this. They're so immediately that we lose the gap here between the stimulus and the response. And it happens to all of us, it's natural. And then there's a third stage, and this is we call it dorsal parasympathetic system. Sorry. It's a privilege to be English speaking born. Yeah, and this dorsal part is the oldest part of our autonomic nervous system. This happens when fight and flight is not possible, and we fall into a parasympathetical rigidity. We can really continue living with it, but we can't engage in a healthy social context. It's not possible. Like when it's really high activated, it's like a shutdown. We can't speak anymore. We are dissociated. There's an empty gaze in our face. We are sometimes pale, we are cold, we feel numbness, we feel paralyzed. And it sounds so extreme, but it can be really, really subtle. Like numbness is not right. You can't get easy in touch with it. And we can't keep good eye contact here. We also hear in a different way, which is very interesting. This is a state where we suffer from depression and hopelessness, and also shame is occurring in this state. And when we are triggered in the absolute maximum state, that's where we really shut down, and we are not able in being in contact with us or with others, and we have a sense of I can't. And the invitation is to really look in a really simple way during your life. Where do you meet phases of I am? Where do you meet phases from I can? And phases from I have to? And where do you find yourself? And this is very open with like connections around us with our partners, for example, or our children, our family members, our friends, where we have a feeling of I can't do this anymore. I can't bear it anymore. I really can't. And this is really can remind of us or show us, I'm in an absolutely high activated stage in my nervous system. And what happens there is that I can't interpret faces correctly. I find it more difficult to hear voices. I can't hear empathetic voice very well. Like the sounds we hear there are more high and more low. And the area around my nose and my face gets really stiff. And what happens there is that from this place we are in there, we see other people as animals, enemy, that they want to harm us. And our face gets even more tensed. And the other person there reacts to our face, to our voice. And when we are in danger, like we think there is a danger around us, and this is how our nervous system reacts, the other person reacts to our nervous system. And that's where the social problems start. So if we walk around more informed about our nervous system, be aware that it's just nervous systems doing their things, and that we have these different stages there. Then when I see my partner in a really staring gaze, a pale face, a stiff expression in the face, I can remind myself, and no, it has nothing to do with me, actually. Wow, he's activated. And it's very difficult because it's like a ping pong, right? We activate each other all the time. And the thing is that the nervous system even reacts, and actually most of the time in this higher stage where there is no danger, like the saber-toothed tiger is not there anymore. And our system still reacts as if there is a tiger, because it has been developed when we were young, and it gets us information on situations based which happened in the past. Our nervous system is developed during our childhood while being in contact with our caregivers. And we humans, I use the expression of social animals. We are social animals, like we are really highly dependent on other people and their environment also. We are born and need to be fully taken care of. And food and drink and shelter and warmth are not enough here. It's not enough to keep us thrive. Every mammal is dependent on being accepted in a family, being part of it. It's like our greatest longing to belong. And the nervous system of children who have received little attention, love, and care looks the same as the nervous system of people who suffered from shock trauma, such as violence or falls or operations. And this is an important aspect because many people don't understand themselves because it's really, really subtle. It doesn't take a shock trauma to throw us off track. The parenting methods, which were common and normal up to the 70s or 80s, are really enough to create a certain nervous system that is not very resilient, that has little chance to relax and rest. And I dare to say that in our society, we are collectively affected by attachment trauma. And it really varies in degrees here, like some are very few affected and some are more affected. But I don't see us humans walking around and really being open and spacious and fluid with each other and trusting and relaxed and at ease. I see us more as if there's something to defend, to protect. And our nervous system really kicks in social context. When we are alone, we might be relaxed, but then when we go out there, for most of us, social contact is dangerous, and this is based to our experience in the past. And there's no way to judge, like, it doesn't make sense to judge our nervous system because it's just doing its job, and it has done that so we could survive. Also survive all the pain of our childhood, which could have been like very, very, very subtle, but we like, I mean, our parents, they also had their nervous system, right? So just the invitation here to go through the day in a sense of, oh, okay, there are nervous systems around, and just realize for yourself, where are you in a relaxed state, in a stage of, oh, I am, where are you meeting a stage of, I can, there's movement possible, but also like it's really good to move, like when there's a healthy aggression in us, and the stage of, oh, I can't, you know. First I must, I have to, and then I can't. And just realize that in yourself and see it in other people. Yeah. So far for today, and if you have questions at the end, you can ask your questions, and it's time for our meditation. So get comfortable. Or, you know what? The invitation is to take 5 minutes to shake your body, because this is also like heavy duty stuff I'm presenting here. And if some of it just, feels heavy, just really good to shake your body. And the invitation is to stand up for that. I don't believe that we can meditate in all circumstances. It's not appropriate. And I also think meditation can go with the body and through the body. And really, like, I can't stand up because then you won't see me on the screen anymore. There's not enough space here, but really, and also allow the breath to, like, the exhalation to be really long, and keep your mouth open for those 5 minutes. And really shake from your pelvis, shake your knees, shake your ankles, your chest, your shoulders, your elbows, your hands, your fingers. And if like sighing occurs, it's great. And if you can make sounds, it's even greater. Like, really allow your system to be free, allow your breath to be free, the voice to be free. And shake yourself with whatever is present for you at the very moment. Like, if there is irritation, if there is annoyance, agitation, or fear, or anger, doubt, worries, resistance, like, Allow it to be there and shake your body. And shake especially your pelvis and the legs and the knees and the feet. And keep going with it for a few minutes. And it can be a more subtle shaking, and it can be a very intense shaking. Really, whatever your system is yearning for at this very moment. If you find yourself in a state of numbness or not moving at all, move at least your fingers. And keep moving, keep shaking. Just allowing energy to move freely. Move your mouth, move your voice. With all the judgments which might be there, keep shaking the body without losing yourself. Really being also aware of what's going on while shaking the body. Stories, maybe pictures, emotions. Allow it all to be there and keep shaking the body. And the movement can get a bit more soft. And of course, if you find it juicy and something there to explore, keep shaking your body, and otherwise move around, but in a more soft way now. Maybe expanding tissues in your body and contracting tissue, feeling how it is to be wide, open, spacious, and how it is to be small and contracted, and just moving your pelvis and allowing like really intuitive movements to be there. And allowing the breath to flow through your mouth to invite something new. And the invitation is to open your eyes if they are not open yet, and to, while moving, also move behind you with your head and gaze upwards towards the ceiling or the sky, out of the window, to really arrive here in the room. When we are in the parasympathetic activation, we are orientated, we feel safe and connected, able to make contact with our environment. And we do this now via the eyes, and still really being with yourself. Really feeling what's going on. And we can do also the orientation in the here and now via contact with our hands. So the invitation is to touch whatever is around you, like the wood of the floor maybe, or the wool of your blanket, or the walls, the chair, the table. And while doing this, allowing deep exhalations with an open mouth. And the movement could become even more slow and maybe almost subtle. You have the feeling it's really doing good for you to just keep your hands moving on something around you or maybe even on your body, then keep doing so. Just staying really close to yourself, really close to your heart maybe. Just if you come to rest, allowing tissue to drop down towards the earth, allowing tissue to melt, to become soft. Maybe the shoulders can become more soft, the fingers, the face. It might be contribution for you to bring your hands into your face. Might be that this contributes to soothing down, to arriving here. Just allowing for the breath to be as it is, without needing to interfere. While it could be also supportive to have the exhalation even a bit longer and longer and longer. Arriving here with the sounds which are around you. Just as you are, without having to be any different. Also allowing the tissue to sink and allowing tissue not to sink. Allowing holding. Allowing parts of the body to melt down, maybe even a bit more. Maybe the chest bone can relax in the space between the shoulder blades. Or the pubic bone can drop down even a bit more. And also allowing those parts of the body, of your system, which feel agitated, which feel like holding something, to be as they are. And sensing the body in contact with the floor, feeling the heaviness there. You don't even have to do anything. The earth is just pulling you down. Really feeling the earth as a magnet. And the invitation is that you really go with the fields where there's openness or where it feels good or juicy, And if there is nothing in your body, then bring the awareness outside of the body to the sounds, to the space, or even like being in contact with texture around you. So it's both absolutely fine to be inwardly associated and outer association. And if there is no space available which feels like good, like then find space which is okay, or at least better than the rest, a bit better than the rest. Really allowing time for the tissue to sink, allowing really time for just this moment and just this breath. Or just for now, it really doesn't need to be any different than it is. And with all that, what is going on, the sensations and the feelings, maybe emotions, thoughts, can you find a space in the body which feels like okay or safe or spacious? And just going there with your attention and keeping your attention there. And if the body is not a safe space, you can keep your awareness on an object like the sound, or also with a soft gaze look at something which gives a bit a sense of rest maybe. And keep your awareness there. And maybe the place of spaciousness or okayness can expand a bit. Maybe you feel into the edges of this place in your body, around your body. So really resting there in this place which feels a bit better than the rest, or which feels even open, spaciousness. Really allowing to rest there. Allowing the mind to do its thing with the thinking and pictures, images, whatever, and you're resting in this part of the body, which feels a bit more open, wide, spacious. Maybe this feeling of okayness, the feeling of openness can expand even more. Resting in those sensations here, widening, opening. While it could be that for you, just moving your hands around on texture and on your body, keeping the exhalation long, really focusing on something where there's a sense of ease, peace. And to end the meditation, go very, very slowly, like really being aware how you move from the inner world back to the outer world, with really gentle movements maybe. It's allowing this to be still part of the meditation, to be aware of the body sensations, be aware of the movement, of the state your nervous system is in just now, this very moment. May we all support each other on our way to awakening. May we all walk through life with an undefended heart. May we all give each other the feeling that we are safe and protected and welcome. May we be able to live nourishing relationships with ourselves, with all our inner parts, and with others, so we can be the light for others. May all beings on earth feel safe and protected, and may there be peace on earth. Thank you so much for being here and for being here with your openness also. The path into freedom only goes with a sense of being uncomfortable, because what we already know, our patterns and habits and the usual way we do things, this feels familiar to us. So when we enter into something new, it needs to be narrow there. Otherwise it wouldn't be new, and we need this narrowness, maybe like a caterpillar is needing a cocoon to, like the pressure of the cocoon to widen its wings and become a butterfly. And I'm really grateful we are practicing this together and finding our way home together. That's where Sangha is for. And I'm immense grateful for this platform here, and it needs all of us to keep the platform running, because there are costs involved in all this, and it's wonderful that we can attend if we really can't share anything financial, but if you can, you're so invited to do so, to keep this platform running, that we like can be here together, even like in many years, and grow in this together. Because what I present here, like a very, very basic understanding of the nervous system, is also still developing. And I will go more into this during the next day, how that weaves together with our practice here. But it hasn't yet completely. Like last week, I was teaching a 5-day silent retreat in a Zen Buddhist place together with a Zen master. And that was very kind of revolutionary thing there in this temple, because it had been only had retreats there with a really strict Zen practice. And there now there is a bit trauma-informed basic knowledge also in it, and people might get also more in meditation with opening their eyes or moving around a bit, or what I presented here, shaking our bodies, can really be so valuable for us. I'd like to share the Dana link where you can contribute to the platform and also to my life and the life of my family and my 3 children, who think it's very weird to teach on donations, but I can't type. I can see your questions. I read this. Can you recommend any books about the nervous system or about the territory between the nervous system and meditation, or embodiment and working with the nervous system? Thanks. Yeah, I don't have those titles in my head, like, and I can't type in here. So what I will do, Joanne, is that I will type them to George and he can bring them in here tomorrow, or if I can type in the chat tomorrow, I can do this. I never had this before, that I can't type in the chat. Don't know what's going on there. But things you can definitely look in is Lawrence Heller is his name. He talks a lot about attachment, trauma, and trauma sounds so intense, but I want to emphasize again that it can be really, really subtle. And I want to take I'd love to have the picture away that there's something wrong with us if our nervous system hangs in a state of trauma, because, I mean, look in this world, how we interact and engage with each other. It seems that trauma is all around, right? And yeah, so this book can be really useful. And also look into Peter Levine. Like, he's the founder of Somatic Experiencing, which is a trauma-focused and body-focused therapy, a trauma therapy, body-focused, which I'm also training in. I'm still part of the training, like learning. And the thing is, like, when I'm sitting there in the training and listening and experiencing and practicing, that comes to a point where it's no difference to our meditation practice, where it's not anymore about just what I said, the blue bowl, the parasympathetic system, where it's not anymore at the really high, and we say red stage up there and the space in between, but where there is the so-called purple color around, and this is the vessel which can hold it all. So it's really spiritual. Yeah, Peter Levine definitely is. Rick Hansen, there's the book, The Brain of the Buddha, or The Buddhist Brain. It's a great book. He really shows up how if we find ways to soothe our nervous system here and now, even while being activated, what it does with our brain and how it like changes our whole system. Yeah, and also you could look for videos of the polyvagal theory, which is there is also a lot of critics about it, and I think it's very useful to once get an idea of the polyvagal theory and then take for you what you find appropriate, what really helps you, like bring it into practical thing. Oh, Jamie, sweet. Do you run retreats in UK, please? Not yet. I'm sorry. I was teaching English in English language in France, but I'm not doing that anymore. We're not doing the Dharma Yatra there anymore. That's how I used to teach. Yeah. But who knows? Wolfgang, thank you for all your questions. How does knowledge of the nervous system further our meditation experience and practice? Yeah, I think it does, because it doesn't show up so strongly when we are sitting on the cushion. Like we have all the stuff going on and we can create space in like in a lot of cases. And we have our emotions coming and going, and we can get close to the sensations and create maybe more space or not, but there's nobody there to react. Like our nervous system is pretty safe on the cushion, in the body or outside the body. But then when you come to meet your partner, let's say, yes, and your partner just had cuddled with another male or female being last night, or came home and I'm going a bit in the extreme, but it's not so extreme, because in fact there's nothing wrong with just cuddling, just holding a hand, getting intimate with each other. We are disconnected from this in our society, that I strongly believe that we have to find our way back in real human contact. And if you look to India, for example, the people are so physically close to each other, like hugging each other all the time, walking hand in hand, and sleeping close to each other. I slept in a room there with 11 people squeezed to each other. So it's our tissue, continuously in contact with our tissue. But let's say, like, your partner came very late and you don't know why. Or a friend of you doesn't talk to you for a few days. Like all these social normal interactions, they can trigger something, and they do on a slight level, like a lot of the times, for some of us more, some of us less. And tomorrow I will speak about how we have created tendency in relationships, the tendency to lose ourselves, to not feel ourselves, to not feel this really strong patterns in us, which were created when we were very young. And to really come in contact with these patterns, it is the need for being awake and being present while being in contact with another person. So it's bringing meditation into a social context, into our conversations. And I will also talk about this more, how we can really co-regulate ourselves, and from there come into this, what we call the parasympathetic system. And meditation is not possible if we are highly activated and if we have a strong sense of urge of acting out anger, for example. And there are ways we can support each other just through our social contacts in this way of practicing. And of course, our presence and our knowledge about, for example, in the Noble Eightfold Path, the right diligence, right? Right effort, it's called. What is the appropriate effort I can bring into my practice? And the Buddha talks about preventing unwholesome states to arise. So knowing myself, knowing my nervous system, knowing where it's increasing up, helps me also to avoid certain situations. Like I don't need to make a difficult telephone call late in the evening. For example, it's better to do it when I know I have time afterwards to go into the forest. It can be really that simple. And to just, if you know you're have challenging situations coming, what about going there with another person, holding a hand, like really creating also space in your life? And we can't do this all the time. And we can bring compassion to our nervous system because it is autonomic. Oh, I'm so sorry for my English today. I mean, it's never perfect. And I only slept like 4 hours. My little son, he was in a kind of really, he felt in danger, even though the situation wasn't dangerous there, but his nervous system was so extremely triggered so that he kept staying awake and really needed me until 1 o'clock in the morning, and then again from 4 o'clock in the morning onwards. And my nervous system can really change this situation and also the situation in the world while not like realizing and knowing about my nervous system that it get activated from high sounds of voice, and my son was very high sounding, and knowing in which state I can go in, I immediately like brought the gaze out of the window in the stars. My shoulders sank down, elongating my exhalation and giving space, being a relaxed nervous system for my son so he could eventually regulate his own system. Yeah, and this is the whole path. And we explore more of this in the next days, and I'm looking forward to do this with you together. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.